Well, hello and welcome to another video. Today it is a special game that I am showcasing here. Last week we managed to get a few games in with the one and only Hera, the best player in the world, the number one player in the world for the last 4 or 5 years or so. It's kind of a long story how that just randomly happened, but Neebs here in the yellow happened to be watching Hera's stream and saw that you could toss a $20 donation in and get in on some team games on what Hera calls Team Game Tuesday. And long story short, he played a couple of games. The chat liked him a lot, and the chat donated a bunch of games to him, which turned into a Neebs and Friends game with Hera. So Hera's here in the orange, and we just queued up for a random team game. You can see as soon as we got in the game, Gray is laughing, and then Blue is laughing, and then Teal says, "I just want to chill," and we run into frickin' Hera. Gray says, "Cooked." Hera's joking with them. Neebs is joking with them. Yeah, so basically, the other team realizes they're in a game with the best player in the world. But as Neebs said, don't worry, the rest of us suck. So we're not near as good as Hera. In the red, we have CrimsonTyphoon. He is playing as the Bohemians. Neebs is his pocket in yellow. He is playing as the Magyars. I am purple, and I am the Goths. I am Hera's pocket, and Hera is orange, and he's playing as Turks. So one thing I noticed in this game, well, we didn't see it in real time, but there's pretty good communication on the other side. It doesn't seem like they're in Discord. They probably just randomly queued up together, but they are chatting in chat, which is good. So Blue is already preparing or telling his team he's planning to castle drop. He is the Tupi, so that's going to be interesting. I mentioned how many chickens I have just because sometimes Neebs likes to get gypped, but he actually has the 8 chickens, so... Anyway, so the gist of the way Hera's been playing in these team games is, he's not tryharding it. If he was tryharding it, he could probably just, crush the enemy and just roll around the map. And that wouldn't really be a lot of fun for the enemy or for us. So he just kind of takes it easy, kind of booms until he gets attacked, and then leaves plenty of room for the rest of the team to come in and shine. And that's kind of what happens. This is also my first time playing with the pro version of Capture Age, so I've got a lot more tools here than I'm used to, so bear with me if I screw things up. We see right now Teal, who is the Cumans, is the first one clicking up to Feudal Age. That's unsurprising, because Teal is going to want to make an extra town center, most likely, as the Pocket Cumans. Gray and Teal were having a little fight with Hera, and Hera managed to save his scout. Actually pretty even there with Teal's scout, so we may be able to come back and take that fight again later. I'm also up pretty early, so is Neebs. We're still gathering some chickens here. Should get a pretty good castle time. Hera has a pretty good fast imp build order, but that's not what's going to happen here. He's going up at a pretty normal time. He's actually the one that taught me the fast imp build order with the Turks. But that's not what he's going to do. He's just going to boom and then sort of see what the enemy does and react to that. I do occasionally chat with Hera. He's streaming this, by the way, so if you want to see his perspective, you can watch it on his video on demand. But he's streaming his perspective, and whenever I chat with him, he chats back in the stream, but I don't think he realizes I'm not actually watching the stream, so it's not particularly effective, but we end up coming up with pretty decent plan together anyways. Guess I'll speed up a little bit here. We'll see what Actually, let's just go take a look and see what everyone's doing. You can see blue is on stone, so he's planning to... Uh-oh. Oh, no. Crimson lost his scout to the green TC. Okay, alright, I didn't realize that happened. That's hilarious. Alright, we're all hopping into Feudal Age. Teal, as expected, went for the second TC as Cumans. That's their unique ability in Feudal Age, to make a second town center, so he's going to go for that Feudal Boom. Hera's going for a fast castle. I'm going for a fast castle. In fact, I've already clicked. I am the first to click. Neebs is right behind me with the Magyars. And Crimson is also doing just as much. Green is a little later, kind of the Burgundian way a lot of times, because they can get their eco upgrades early. People like to do that, which kind of delays their timings. But Blue's planning to be aggressive with the castle drop. Check that out, 9 on stone, so he's definitely planning on that. Of course, we don't see that. Here's where I ask Hera, you know, what would you like in support? I am the Goths. And I didn't know what he said in real life, but when I went back and watched the stream, he said, well, you're Goths, go infantry. Specifically, pikemen and huscarls. So that happens to be what I went with. We are up against the Burmese, who like to do cavalry, sometimes infantry, and then the they're actually second guessing whether it's actually Hera, and no, they checked the stream and it really is Hera. One of them says, "Holy shit." Anyway, so I've seen that Hera is sort of staying inside his walls here, so I did a little bit more scouting out here, and I'm also just kind of guarding this relic. I figure maybe be useful with my scout. Neebs and I have arrived at the Castle Age, so there should be a blue guy that will be soon building a castle forward onto Crimson. I did signal to Hera that I would like to take this fight against the Gray Scout, and I go ahead and go in for it, seeing that Hera's going to come in there and help me. So we do have a little tango here with the blue scout, the Gray Scout. Hera doesn't want to take the fight too early because he is very weak, but Gray keeps walking back and forth, allowing me to get a few free hits. I actually thought he was going to go inside there, so that's why I went over there, but see, Hera didn't even have to do much, just sort of block a little bit, and we managed to kill the Gray Scout. Very little damage on my scout. So, just as blue is castle dropping red, yellow managed to get his scout stuck inside of blue's base, which is hilarious. So, now green and blue are both going to try to go hunt him down, as they say. Gray is building a castle in his base. Gray's unique unit is the Arambai. Blue, the Tupi, is... oh, and here I'm signaling... I noticed that yellow is inside of blue's base, and Neebs didn't even know it at the time. He's like, what the hell? But yeah, they end up trying to fight him, but he actually just turns around and realizes he's got the edge on this green scout. So he actually can kill that green scout, and then he actually takes a lot of damage off of this blue champy. So he almost kills both of those. So the Tupi will be making Blackwood archers. They are a unique archer unit that masses really fast, because just clicking one Blackwood archer makes 2 Blackwood archers. So you end up making them really fast and being able to sort of overwhelm your opponent with a lot of archers. Crimson's going to have to deal with that. He's got a mango in that siege workshop. Built another siege workshop back here. Built a stone wall to protect his base. One thing I noticed too is, although Teal, still in Feudal Age, has 2 town centers, all of the enemies have 1 town center except for him. So blue has 1 town center, green has 1 town center, gray has 1 town center. Meanwhile, on our side, Crimson has 2 town centers, Neebs has 3. I'm actually building my 4th, and Hera has 3. So we're all, you know, getting an economic lead here, while the enemy is focusing on military. Green is making Cavalier. He's already got the Cavalier upgrade. He's got 2 stables producing them. They're planning on a 2v1 attack versus versus Crimson here. So this was actually a really good idea from Neebs, making this outpost out here. So we should be able to see that there are Cavalier out here, and that there will be an attack coming in, most likely around from the castle, onto Crimson from this side. I did signal to Hera that there's a castle here, which means the Burmese will have Arambai at some point. Green is taking out the outposts so that we see less. Good play on his part, although we already do see that there are Cavalier out there. But if we weren't paying attention, we won't know what killed that. So Crimson takes a good fight on that mango, but unfortunately you can see there are petards coming in here. So this is going to be difficult. Got 2 petards, enough to break a wall, and he's got 3 mangoes in defense. He does have a villager, so he saw it coming. He actually quick walls to keep them out, but then the Blackwoods are able to take out the villager, and then they just take out the rest of that stone wall, which was never finished. And then now it's going to be 3 mangoes in defense against 5 Cavaliers and 14 Blackwood archers. And that's an air ball from 3 mangoes. That's not good. These Cavalier actually do not have their 2nd armor upgrade, so theoretically they die to TCs. But they're not dying very fast, and they're going to clear up those mangoes, which means it's going to be hard to deal with these Blackwoods. Those mangoes were really in preparation to kill these Blackwoods. So Crimson's having a tough time right now. Neebs is 3 TC booming. He's up to 67 villagers. I'm up to 65. Hera's at 75 with 4 TCs. So far, Crimson hasn't died, but he is hurting. Honestly, I think the best thing that he could do is plug his hole here. So just go up there real quick, repair that stone wall, just so you can, know that the only thing you have to deal with is what's in your base. Green has had to delete a couple of knights because of these monks. Ooh, did we get a good hit here? Not bad. But yeah, so if we were able to plug this hole, then the Cavalier would not be able to get back in so easily, and it'd be a lot easier to take these fights. All right, so there is another attack, just as Crimson is still dealing with this. Neebs hasn't done anything in response, really. He's still thinking about what he wants to do. He's just got a siege workshop and a barracks. Now he's building archery ranges. So, Crimson's really hurting. But now, Hera actually sees this attack coming. And watch his reaction. He knows already to start building a castle in defense. He's got 11 villagers immediately working on it, and went to grab another 12. Gray's going to try to build a castle on the inside. Hera quick walls. Unfortunately, these Arambai are going to be great at sniping the castle building villagers. But the quick walls do keep the knights out. I happen to see this, so I tell Hera I'm coming. I do at least have 2 barracks and just got a 3rd one up, so I am just now starting to make military. I've got 15 pikemen in the queue. Unfortunately, they're going to come out 3 at a time. So Hera was not able to finish that castle. He's going to try to get this one up. He popped down a siege workshop, because I think he wants to make a couple of mangoes, a couple of market and blacksmith walls to try to keep the Arambai out. He does get this castle up. Managed to get that castle up as well, but there's rams in here too. Teal coming in with the capped rams from the Cumans, so they are getting a really big hit on Hera. I do manage to get a few pikes in here, though, so these knights are at least are getting, you know, poked pretty good and will gradually die. Unfortunately, Hera's already lost one of those castles, losing a bunch of villagers back here. Trying to fight with just a mango and these castles in defense. I'm really just trying to mass my pikemen. I've got 33 pikemen in the queue. Only 14 on the field right now. So it's just a matter of, you know, trying to get them out here and in the best position. So I tried to pop back out on this side to chase the Erembai around. Hera's getting some shots in with the mango on the rams, which is helping. I'm trying to kill the cavalier. Occasionally go for the Erembai. Erembai are trying to snipe the repair villagers. We have pretty well cleared most of the knights, so the knights are just streaming in small quantities now. Really trying to keep this castle up. He does manage to, get one more hit on the rams, but unfortunately the castle goes down. So that's 2 castles Hera's lost already. And if you watch his stream, he was pretty annoyed because he felt like he saw the upgrades on the units out here, so he knew what was coming, and was a little slow to react. But honestly, his defense was majestic. He really just lost this space here, and, well, a lot of villagers, to be honest. But he's still got most of this space, and now there's enough army in here that the enemy isn't really going to be able to push again anytime soon. Meanwhile, let's check back in here. There's a second castle inside of Crimson's base on the TC. Crimson's making a town center. He has sent some villagers, well, one villager into Neebs' base. Neebs is making cav archers. These knights are just walking into my pikes, thankfully. So they're not going to be able to get a lot of value here. And fighting under TCs. Hera's only been able to make one Janissary here, and that's just because, well, he's made 2 castles, and they both already got knocked down, and that you need castles to make Janissaries. He is, oh, and I'm telling Hera that I'm up to Imperial Age. And what I mean by that is, hey, I'm an imp, or I'm gonna be an imp soon. I'll be able to make trebuchets to push back this castle and reclaim this territory. So, in the meantime, I've got 39 pikes on the field, 24 more in the queue. You know, we're just making tons of pikes just to keep Hera alive here. The Erembai are pretty decent against pikes, although you can see over here I'm using spread formation, and that's because Erembai have they have a dart attack, and they are not very accurate. Oh no. You'll see, Green says he wants to go to Hera. He wants to come in here, but I don't think he realized how many pikemen were in here. So, Green's Cavalier just literally got wasted in Hera's base, dying to my pikes and the TCs. And Hera just lost 1 mangonel to all of that. So, and afterwards, Green says, "Oh shit, it really is him," having seen that he lost his entire army. So, poor Green decided to come to this side and try to help, and lost the whole army. Meanwhile, Blue is still pushing Crimson. Yellow is gradually starting to get the Cav Archers to engage with the Blackwood Archers. Anyways, back what I was saying about the Erembai, they have like a spray attack, kind of like a shotgun attack. They can attack a lot of units if you have them grouped up. So that's why I'm trying to use staggered formation here. So that they take less of those shots. But my pikemen may have trouble to get to the Erembai, but once they do, the Erembai take a lot of bonus damage from the pikes, so he has to constantly keep an eye on his army and keep them away from my pikes. And honestly, Hera's army consists almost entirely of mangonels at this point, and he's just constantly trying to get some good shots in on these Erembai. And I'm having to keep, you know, good control of my army as well, just to make sure I don't fight unnecessarily under the castle. Look at Blue here telling Green to come back. He's like, where'd your army go? Well, his army died over here. Because now Blue is afraid he's going to lose to Yellow. Neebs. Hera is confident that we're going to take this position, so he's going to build a castle in this spot, which is right in the same spot that he's lost 2 castles in already. So, bold, but probably not unfounded. We've got 68 pikes here. There's not much that can really push us back. I had one trebuchet, it attacked here, and then it walked randomly out here. I think what happened is I tried to grab my pikes and clicked them out here, and I accidentally grabbed the trebuchet as well. So my trebuchet management is not amazing right now. I see his mangoes go up there, and I want to provide some protection, so I send a lot of pikes up here. I sent 44 pikes up there. Unfortunately, now there's an attack coming in from the left side. So Cavalier, well, Knights are coming back in. Oh, now they are Cavalier, okay. They're going to try to get to the Treb, but they don't quite make it. I do manage to get a few pikes in on there. Unfortunately, looks like Hera's going to lose this castle again. He's trying to get the mangoes here to kill the rams, but oh my goodness. He's going to lose that castle. We will push back this castle too. So that castle dies. Unfortunately, this one dies too. But now the 92 pikes that are out here, we'll clean up the rest of this along with some of these mangoes. And we will initiate a push. Meanwhile, Yellow has cut off Blue, so Blue still has some units in red space killing things, but he's really pushing Blue back here. Thankfully, Crimson has set up a new economy in Yellow's base, because most of what he has is done. Oh, okay. Actually, hang on. Let's use this new feature. Let's rewind 30 seconds. All right, let's watch this again. Because I remember Hera talking in his video about these mango shots that he has here. Oh! Dude, he lost 2/3 of his Arambai. Oh, he just lost another half. Oh my goodness. Those mango shots are great. Hera's comment in his chat was, bro, those are the best mango shots I've had in my life. Which is saying something. Probably a little exaggeration. I remember seeing some good ones from him. But those were really good. Those Arambai are no longer a factor. And we are definitely pushing. Neebs is trying to come in here and clean up what's left of the blue stuff in Red's base. Unfortunately, Red has lost all of his villagers, but he does still have a TC in here. He's down to 26 villagers. So he took a pretty big hit there. My pikemen are just sort of running here on their own. I didn't tell them to do that, but they'll take that fight. We'll see that there's a castle going up there, castle here, so we'll rearrange where our trebs go. Meanwhile, I did send Hera some stone. He's bought some more stone. He's building his 4th castle. Because, you know, at some point he's going to need something other than just a few mangoes. Unfortunately, there are still a few Blackwood archers in here. Neebs is trying to initiate a push on his own over here. Thankfully, Green has been kind of in between. Let's turn the fog war back off. Yeah, it looked like he tried to come around here, but then thought better of it. And now Blue is like, hey, I'm going to get wiped if you don't come help. Yellow about to steamroll me, he says. Oh! And look at what Gray said. Hera, please don't clip that. I think he's talking about those mango shots on the Arambai. That's funny. Alright, one thing to notice here is Teal has switched to infantry. So he's got long swords right now. Those will soon be upgraded to two-handed swordsmen and then eventually champions, most likely. And that's going to wreck the army that I'm going with. The army I'm going with right now is halberdiers and huscarls, both of which will die to that. You can see Gray doesn't have much back here. He's got 76 villagers. but his whole army has been this Erembi production from this initial castle. Neebs trying to take some hero fights against the Blackwoods and what are now Paladin, but honestly, he has enough cav archers to one-shot Paladin here. So, I think he'll be able to manage for a while. But yeah, this is gonna eventually push us back. I've got enough spam though. I've still got 38 halberdiers out here, 27 huskarls. Got enough units, just sheer volume, that I'll keep this position for a little longer. Maybe long enough to kill this castle. But I'm going to need to retool into regular infantry to combat the champions that we have from Teal. And I hope that Hera gets some more of these Janissaries. Neebs and Hera are talking about establishing trade. They built a couple of markets back there. Hera thinks that's a little ambitious. If we're going to trade that way, he says we need some castles in the middle. And he's not wrong there. Green is coming around here, trying to fight on both sides a little bit here. And I think he realizes Teal and Gray are getting pushed pretty hard. We did manage to kill that Gray castle, so no more Erembi from the Gray guy. He's got to figure out what other army to go with. These last 8 Erembi are the last Erembi that he has, and that he will have this game. But they are clearing up our push. I told Hera I'm going to have to back up and regroup for a second, so my new gather point's going to be back here. Blue is trying to impart some courage to Green. He's like, you've got Paladin, you can take that fight. And maybe that's true. He's going to go in for the fight here. He's got 58 Paladin. Okay, that's a lot of Paladin. Yeah, I'd say go ahead and use them. Neebs is backing up a little bit. And Crimson has 5 town centers, actually. 1 in his own base, 3 in the back of Neebs' base, and 1 in between mine and Neebs. So, he's trying to get back in this game. In fact, he's got 110 villagers. We just looked at him a few minutes ago, and he had 26. So, congratulations, Crimson. You are back in the game. Looks like he's going to be making pikemen, upgrading to halberdiers as soon as he can get to Imperial Age. This fight here, Neebs is going to try to back up to where he can get a good squeeze play here, where the cav archers can get shots while the paladin can't reach. Get some pikemen out in front. So basically, they're just holding this position at this point. Neebs was able to push back all the way to Blue's Gate, but now they're getting pushed back to these castles here. The cav archers are doing pretty decently against the Blackwood archers and the paladin, but they can't handle both of them. Meanwhile, Hera and I are fighting again down here. As long as we've got these Janissaries back here, which Hera's up to 26 of them now, I can just serve as the meat shield here. I can fight the halberdiers versus the huskarls versus these champions with Hera behind all day. That's fine. I'll just make more. They're cheaper with Goths. Hera's making bombard towers just to sort of establish position and say, alright, enemy's never going to take this position again. Meanwhile, still some big fights on the other side. Crimson just clicked Imperial Age, so he'll be up to it pretty soon. Just trying to get a good maneuvering here for the fights. There's been a few different times that Neebs has tried to make a few forward castles and had to back up with that. Meanwhile, Hera now has bombard cannons to go along with the Janissaries and bombard towers, so we are definitely securing this push. Gray's base will be overrun shortly. Looks like he's building cav archers from some archery ranges. But I've got halbs and elite huskarls, so that's going to be a rough combo. Meanwhile, Green comes in for the attack, runs into some pikes. Neebs is getting some great shots with these onagers. So, one thing, 2P Blackwoods are particularly vulnerable to a siege. They have very little HP, so one big siege shot can flatten a whole army. So you saw Blue just lose a ton of Blackwood archers there. And Neebs has lost very few cav archers. He's still got 53 out here. 37 pikemen from Crimson, which they are getting upgraded to halberdier now. Blue is trying to get green to go ahead and fight. I think Blue was thinking about the markets when Neebs was taking the shots with the onagers. So, meanwhile, Crimson's halbs are a little out of position here. So Neebs is going to lose a few of these cav archers, down to 30. But now the pikemen show up. Unfortunately, there were bombards on this castle, so that castle is gone. But I did manage to get some units back in the back of Purple's base. He's open from both sides. We're pushing through the outside as well towards Teal. So all Neebs and Crimson need to do at this point is just hold this position. They are gradually losing it, to be honest. They are sniping our trade. Losing that castle sucks. But they're holding it now, I think. Green's doing a good job of pulling these halbs around the Blackwood archers. So they all died to the Blackwoods, and the Paladins survived. So Green has done a good job keeping his army alive. Maybe not as good a job at fighting with it, but because he has occasionally had to be told by Blue, hey, can you use that? Meanwhile, we're going for this Teal castle. Blue's base is pretty well wrecked. I'm sorry, Gray's base is pretty well wrecked. Gray has, let's see, if I can tell. Oh, Gray has 82 villagers. I'm not sure where they all are, though. They might be in some of these TCs dying over here. Meanwhile, okay, so they decided they really needed to stop our trade, so they're building a castle in our trade, and they're also sending a bunch of cavalry into the trade. So Crimson's base still hasn't plugged that hole. Not that it matters, the trade carts would have opened the doors anyways. So we're going to lose our trade. Crimson's going to lose his base again. But Gray is pretty well wiped. He's down to 51 villagers. And Teal has called the GG. GG, honor to lose to Mr. Hera, he says, as the purple infantry enter his base. And the bombards are on the outside. So still some fighting going on out here. I think, yeah, Gray's going to call the GG. He did try to get a couple of TCs up in Teal's base, but it was too late. Green says GG and honor as he continues to clear up Crimson's base again. But little does he know, Crimson has the majority of his eco out over here. He still has 100 villagers out on the outside here. Neebs and Crimson are gradually pushing back through the middle because the cav got sent over here. And now even Blue's going to call it quits. So, honestly, a fun game. Hera was very complimentary afterwards to all of us. When the fight came in on him, it was a bit of a surprise, but he showed us a pro defense, to be honest. With the quick walls and the castle dropping of himself, even though he did lose those castles, they bought him time. And that was important because that time allowed me to mass up some units, eventually reestablish control, and push back out. Crimson did a great job of dying slowly. That's kind of what we call it on Arena, is when one person gets 2v1'd. If you can actually, handle that pressure and, just kind of slowly lose your position. Not completely die. He did send a villager out here, which he turned into 100 villagers. But if you could just sort of make them spend a lot of time here, then that allows the pocket to get a really good economy and just come back and push back. And you saw that's what happened over here on the right side when Neebs cleared up all the Tupi castles, pushed back all the way to the Tupi base, before eventually they got back into a tug of war through the middle. Um, but anyways, great game. I had no idea you could just get some team games in with Hera, but it was a lot of fun. Um, I appreciate that he let us play. He didn't just dominate. He let me come and rescue him. Got to play the damsel in distress for a little bit. We'll take a look at the stats. Villagers. Hera had a lot of trade units. I remember that standing out a lot. 62 trade units. So if you look at the trade gold, look at that. 12,000 trade gold. Nobody else had more than 200. Crimson had 400. So, yeah, that's how you should be playing it. As soon as we set up the markets, Hera plopped down 50 trade cards, and that was the way to do it, especially with Turks. Very gold heavy civ. Um, Military score here. Hera had a great KD. A lot of the deaths he had were villagers, because they did manage to get into his base early. But once he gets on the Janissaries, they always have a great KD because they're a backline kind of unit. While my Meat Shield unit is going to have a Goth KD, a negative KD, 410 to 619. Neebs also had a great KD with the Cav Archers there, another backline unit that can get a lot of deaths without get a lot of kills without a lot of deaths. This is honestly, I think, the best castle time that I've had as Goths. So great game to showcase that. And I was the first one to castle in a game with a pro in it. To be fair, there's also civ differences here. And yeah, that was honestly a good game. Great opportunity there, and I would love to do it again someday.